Hey there, everybody. So I'm going to draw the end of chapter exercises for chapter 8. I'm not going to bother with the first one because, it does a step-by-step instruction on it. So without further ado, I'll get to it. And you guys may have noticed that instead of just saying draw these, it's also saying add the MBD dimensions as well. So we're going to be actually putting in these model-based dimensions as we go. So I'm going to draw this front view here so we can get the majority of the part detailed in one go. I'm not going to worry too much about where we locate it, so we'll just use the top left point. You know what, we'll just draw the shape. And for now, I'm just going to box it all off. I'll worry about getting the arcs put in there in a second. And I know you can just do a fillet, but I do tend to prefer to put circles in here instead. Okay, so kind of got a rough shape of what it looks like. Let's put in an overall dimension to see if it scales. There we go. Sure does look goofy. Alright, it's going to be 4, both directions. What I'm going to do is just draw a random cutout. Oops. Trim off my mistake. And I'm going to make this line aligned collinear to the tangent edge there. And it looks like we were given a dimension of 4. And I am going to use the fillet here. Sorry, I was making sure we were actually in inches here. I started looking and thinking, oh man, that's borderline, but we're all good. Okay, so then it's 2, I believe. Yep. All right, and we need a little hole or a slot down here. We're going to make it collinear. And looks like we just need a hole. Okay, I believe that one's it. Let's double check. Feels a little thicker here. I think it's just the vantage point though. Let's just double check that just to be safe. Okay, so it is supposed to be coincident on this edge like I had it. I didn't specify earlier, but I had tangent here and coincident here. Okay, so let's do these model-based definitions. I guess it really doesn't matter too much about positioning, but I believe it was actually vertically aligned. So we'll do it like that. And if you want them to be perfectly aligned, you have to be careful where you actually choose. You know, if you choose the face, it tends to kind of jump across where you actually put it. That's okay. For now, I'm not really going to nitpick that. So, you know, you just get your dimensions on there and we'll call it a day. Well, that was not good. There we go. I don't know. I feel like we can do a little better. Let's try doing it like this. Yeah, there we go. So it's kind of just generically out there. You know, if you notice, it's kind of just basing everything on your positioning, so you're going to play with these two a lot. I'm going to reposition this one. That way everything's in line. And if you notice, I'm hitting tab to flip that. I'm going to hold Shift and click this plane to orient it, and then hit Tab to flip it. I'm going to put it out here just to be a little cleaner with it. Let's put this over here. I don't like things being on the model. It's too easy to confuse. There we go. I guess we'll keep this one aligned to this view. And this time I think I'll just put it down here. I don't want to put it on the model. It's not great, but you know, obviously when you're looking at different views, you want it to be kind of clear. So I think that's everything. Let's double check. All right, that's that. So corner stop. All right, so we'll do a top view of this one and then just kind of whittle off the excess. And as always, be careful. Your view cube probably rotated when you started this view too. And I'm gonna put the circle at the center. That's a great, you know, basis. Well, looks like there's a flat, so we'll just add that in. Okay, so let's zoom in because that's pretty hard to see. .25, radius of 4. Oh, a radius of 2. On what I was reading. Alright, so for now we're gonna kind of just add in a bunch of stuff here. So 5.25 is pretty much all we need. I guess I can go ahead and put the hole. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the hole in. Put the 60 in as well. Looks kind of silly right now, but it'll come together in a bit. Alright, so it's 2 from here to here, but we don't have this edge, so we'll do 2 plus 1.25. And then a diameter of 0.75. Overall height of 2.5. And then we'll go ahead and cut off this portion here. And it is an unspecified height. Oh, okay, 1.5. So 2.5 minus 1.5, it's 1 tall. So I'm going to draw a bounding box to cut away the excess. Make this outside edge collinear to this outside edge, which I need to project. Now from the center, this box is 1.25 over. And I'm going to make this top line collinear. Alright, so now we can extrude that portion and cut it away. We could have also put the cut in on the back, but that's okay. We'll just use a chamfer for it. Alright, so here's where we got to do a little math. So this chamfer width here is 5.25 minus the 1.25 minus 3. So that's going to be 1 in length in a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to choose the second option so that we can put a distance and an angle, choosing face and an edge. And there we go. Okay. So just to confirm, because I don't use the chamfer command with that feature a lot, it is in fact 1. So then of course this is going to be 135. Cool. Okay, so we're going to draw in that little moon shape. Project that edge. The center point is aligned. I'm trying to see if it is centered across the part here. It doesn't give a dimension, so we'll take a look at that. Oops. Okay, so I'm assuming it's going to be horizontally aligned to this, since it doesn't give a value. When I look at this, it's symmetrical, so we'll roll with that. And it's 0.75 deep. Alright, I guess that's that one. So let's do some model-based definition here. Hit tab to flip the angle of the text. And this time I'm going to put everything where the book has it. You'll find what you like detailing wise at some point. Seems like the arc measurements tend to like to derp out. Gets hung up a little bit there, trying to calculate faces. So we'll just pull it back after. That's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean to tell you, that's a pain. But I like it out here, so. I don't like that. Let's try doing this a different way without having that big gap on the dimension. What if we did slightly misalign that way? Okay. That's okay. We can live with this. Oh. Yeah, it's about how it has it in the book, really. Aligned to that face. Ooh, nope. You know what? That's bad. There we go. Okay. And I believe that's it. I mean, there's a lot of dimensions, but, still convenient to have them. Alright, the switch base. This one's kind of got an interesting little arc here. We'll see how this one goes. I guess I'll draw this portion first, and then we'll put in this extra part afterwards. And if you notice, I'm just going to kind of draw in the straight lines, and then I'll put in the arcs after. I always think it's a little easier. Alright, so we've got a radius of 1 and a radius 5 dimension. I mean, that's big. All right, so I'm going to assume. Oh, okay. So the center point of the radius 1 is concentric or coincident to the top edge. So then it's going to be tangent here on this edge, and then coincident to the top edge. So then you're going to have this big old circle tangent to that edge, and then you're actually going to have to pull this circle further over, far enough to where you have that seamless edge right there. So we'll make it tangent to this small circle. Then we'll trim. And then I'm going to delete this line. I'll have to reapply the dimension, but it's still easier than, not having it there from the beginning. Okay, and if I want, I can, make these dimensions a little easier. I'm not going to draw the fillets in this view, but I will put the holes in. Okay, so they're both 0.75. Yes. I'm just going to constrain them to each other as much as I can. Alright, so it's 1 thick. We have a fillet of radius 0.5. And the one on the back is radius of 1. Alright, so I guess we'll go ahead and draw the other piece. If you can tell here, it actually, this portion here is underneath that. So I'm gonna draw on the back face so we don't have to do like a one dimension one way, one dimension the other way extrusion. Once I get it kind of laid out, we'll flip it back so it's easier to tell. But it appears we have a shape something like this. And they do end at the same edge. Okay, so we can subtract 4 and 3.25, and that gives us the bottom. So we know that it's 0.75 from here to here, 3.5 overall. .75 height for the part itself. Whoa, Nelly. I think we may have had a snap here of some sort. Okay, so I'm gonna reconstrain that. I think something may have snapped to the existing edge. Alright, so now that I can put that dimension, let's put the 1.75 in. Yep, okay. And then we have 2.75 here. And this edge goes to the end, so it's just going to be coincident. And I'm going to make these lines construction just so they're out of the way. So when you're looking at it, you know, you can kind of see part of it, I guess, but it's going to end up being able to go one way. Just make sure that you do have join on. And we're going to go 2 plus the thickness of the original, which was 1. Make sure it stays on join. Okay, so I could do the chamfer and a feature, but since I need to do a hole, I'm going to go ahead and just draw them both in this view. So I'm just going to draw my triangle and then put in some collinears. Slap in the 30 dimension. We got a value of 2.25 from the point. Alright, so let's locate the hole. Sorry guys, my allergies are killing me today. Okay. So, now it's fully constrained, we can just extrude cut through both. Alright, so let's put in these model-based dimensions. That wasn't very good. Let's try doing point to edge. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Cool, cool. I'm going to put the 1 dimension right there. And there's fine. Oops, didn't mean to open that. I'm going to change the plane. If y'all can hear that, that's my cat. She's bringing me a gift. And we'll put it about right there. We'll dimension the hole. Oop. Man, what a bummer. It's like there's nowhere to even place the dang thing, hardly. Gotta get all inverted up in here. It's easy once you have it placed, but Handwritten. Alright, so all we gotta do is dimension these holes. I know with these chapters, it seems like they get a little more time consuming every time, but you don't have to do MBDs in every exercise, just, a few while you're learning how they work. I mean, honestly, they are pretty fun though. You'd be surprised how convenient it is when you're, working and you don't have to constantly go back and measure things. You can just peek at it real quick. It's quite convenient. Haven't had to deal with that before. Let's pull it over, I guess. Alright. And just for the sake of being exact, let's put 2 times in front of that. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. We are missing a fillet dimension. And that may be it though. Yep, okay. So, angle support. I feel like this was the hardest one in the batch, so these other ones may not take quite as long. So we're going to use that wonderful portion here as our center. Alright, I'm actually just going to use a rectangle here. And then we'll extrude this portion and add it later, just so it's a little easier. So we'll just have this half here for now. And then I'm going to manually draw this rectangle. That way I don't have to go about rotating it and whatnot. One thing we have to make sure to do though is make sure this is going to be aligned to the front or the center of this overall giant circle. So I'm going to make some center lines here. And I'm going to first of all get this to be an actual center line. We'll say that this line is coincident to the center point. I'll do the same for this one. I actually drew it pretty close. Sorry about that. Alright, we've got a thickness of 0.2 here. Same for this side. So make sure you have an aligned dimension here. Let's go ahead and trim off this portion here. If you notice I'm skipping the center line, I'm just going to leave it as is. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to trim this part of it though, but it'll stop right here, and that's fine. Okay, I'm going to delete this and this. And then we'll slap in this 1.75. Ah, if you notice, we lost our dimension from earlier, that radius. I thought it might stay since I actually set it to be a radius, but that's okay. You know, when you break a circle, it's going to have adverse effects. Alright, I'm just going to dimension a 30-degree angle here. What are we missing? Oh, this line is not horizontal. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got that, we'll just extrude it and then do some cuts. It's going to be 0.75 on both sides. You know, in hindsight, I actually drew on the wrong view. Should have been a side view here. There we go. In case you did the same thing as me, you just right-click on it, whichever sketch you want to reassociate, and hit redefine, and then you just choose a new plane to draw it on. So in my case, it's the right side view. And I'm going to draw on this face and add in this little portion here. Going to do some implied constraints for some horizontal lines. It's a little big. Make this tangent. It's 0.25 from here to here. We have 0.25 for this, and a radius of 0.375, which we don't need, clearly. Man. Okay, so there's that portion. And you know, I goofed again. Okay, so this needs to be drawn at the center plane. If you notice, I had drawn it on the face. If you do that, you're not going to have it perfectly aligned to the center like we need it. Make sure it's symmetric. We're still going to need to add this hole. And yes, for something like this, you know, in a later class, I would definitely advise using the hole feature instead. But, you know, while you're still learning, we'll keep it simple. And that actually, if you notice, I was trying to put a point for a hole. Typically, I would just use the hole command and knock it out that way, but it's okay. Now, this one's going to be just a line to the center point. So, there we go. There's that. Now we've just got to do this one little cutout over here. That's okay. Not a great line, but we'll fix it. Oops. And we'll just center up this slot by saying that this portion, it's too far over. That's okay. Let's just shift it. Now we'll dimension the circle to this end and say that it equals half of this. The slot just seems awfully tiny. That's what it is, though, I guess. Alright, so same deal here. I just need to say that this is aligned to the center point of the bottom. Seems awfully big. Well, it looks fine once you get done with it, I guess. Okay, so we'll slap in all these MBDs. Suppose we'll start with this 0.5 value, which I really thought was going to come out right. That's okay. Wow, okay. Super inconvenient. That's all good. Huh, good to know. Okay. I didn't realize you could shift them like that. I'd be lying if I said I ever use these, because I really don't, but they are convenient. Alright, so I think I'm going to flip that alignment. We're getting there. I feel like these are pretty time consuming. Oh, I did mention the same thing twice. Alright. Now this dimension might be harder to pull. Let's try to just generically do it over here. Yeah, that's fine. Just toggle the alignment though. I'm guessing that's it. Thickness. Gotta have thickness. Let's just slap it in about there. Has this weird overlap. Oh, I hit F1. Has a weird overlap, but it does look kind of aesthetically pleasing like that. All right, so that's that. Finally, a easy one here. It's weird how I feel like they do them out of order sometimes. Like these two are way easier than the ones before it. And they're even given us a basic front view at that. All right, so this is a great opportunity to plug the 2-point center rectangle. If you do it, you just choose a center, and then you get to choose a random diagonal. And, you know, it's pretty convenient because it's easy to keep it proportional. It's easy to have it located correctly. It's kind of just a win all around. All right, so what we've got here is 1.75 times 4. So that's 3.5 times 2, which is 7. And instead of doing all of this, I think that I'm just going to take a more simplistic approach. I'm going to pattern most of it. So let's do an extrusion, 0.25. Let's do the fillets of 0.5. And that's the wrong edge. If you ever choose the wrong one, you can just hold Control to deselect. The next thing you click after you hold Control will unselect it. Okay, so I'm going to draw a hole here and a hole here and just pattern them over. I could technically do one hole, pattern it, and then mirror it, but then we're kind of getting a little convoluted. So we'll just do pattern, or one pattern of the whole hole. All right, so project that, slice the graphics so we can see our center point. It's 0.4. Just going to draw another one concentric to the fillet. Extrude these two. Got to get that both ways in there. All right, so we're going to pattern 2 inches for these. Give it a direction. Flip it since it's projecting it the wrong way. And then let's add in 3 more. Oops. Well, it's 4 overall, I guess. Yep. And there's the holes. Let's do another sketch. We'll pattern this circle as well. Alright, so I'm assuming that it's horizontally aligned here. .75, 2.25 diameter. Alright, same deal. So we will do an extrude cut, and then we will pattern that 1.75. So give it a direction, change this to 3, 1.75, and if it's projecting the wrong way, flip it. One's not too bad. Alright, so MBDs. I tell you, they really hammer down on that for a minute, don't they? You know, we're going to go ahead and put 8 times here, since there are 8 of them. Oh, it's like the one time you can't hit escape. Okay. Why would they give you a diameter value there, you know? Anytime it's a incomplete circle, it should be a radius. Shame. Oop, bad click. Alright, so I know I need a thickness, but let's see if I'm missing anything else. We'll nonchalantly squeeze it in right there. Okay, last one. We'll draw this top view. I'm going to do that same center rectangle again. Anytime you can use that, you know, definitely do. And technically you could draw these lines in either, but or later, but obviously if you have them there from the start, it's kind of convenient. And we'll go ahead and put the holes in. Why not? Looks like they're all 0.5 all around with a 0.5 size. So alright, so let's play around with some constraints here. Let's set all these to equal each other. Let's set this circle to be vertically aligned to this one. Do the same for this one. Let's set this to be horizontal with this one to be horizontal with this one. And then what's unfortunate is without symmetry lines, you still have to slap in a few dimensions on another corner. So what I can do is just dimension the opposite corner and then set its dimensions to equal the corresponding dimensions on the other one. And that'll locate those. And, you know, we'll go down. How about that? Okay. So fillets are going to be R.25. And typically I would do them last, but if there's no fillets that are going to be needed on the additional features, I'll go ahead and put them in early. So we'll slap them in now. And then we're going to be drawing on the side view. I'll project that edge. And I'm just going to draw like a rough shape of what this looks like. And I'm not going to bother drawing that one part for now. Just going to draw a random circle. Now that circle is located because its center point is coincident to the top and to the edge of the side. There's also going to be a circle here as well. Well, that's nice. Sometimes that happens. You don't realize things aren't there when you think they are. I thought I was actually touching the lines for some reason. Sitting there thinking, what's going on here? Seems awfully not to scale, don't it? But I guess it's because it's just... Did I have the dimensions right earlier? Yeah, it is 3. It just looks really large right now. Okay, so R.75. Doesn't give us a location, so it looks like it's going to have to be... Oh, okay, there it is, 0.5. And then we need a circle size of 0.5. It's 1.5 long. now we just need that little slot. It's going to be easier to draw it from this face. And in this case, 2-point rectangles are always easier. So we'll slice the graphics. There's nothing to slice though. I'll make it collinear to the top. .5 from the edge. I believe it was 0.25 here. Yep, and 0.5 width. Alright, let's double check this, make sure everything's there before we do the MVDs. All good, okay. We'll flip this to the other side, give us some room. We'll do something like that. Not great, but you know, we can work with that. Let's see. I don't know that I've played with the grabbing the edges portion. Now let's see if we can fix that. Technically, I would want it to be aligned to this edge. So yeah, we'll redo that one. Okay. No biggie. That way we don't have that line cutting across here. And due to, you know, tight spaces problems, we'll just kind of squeeze this in where we can. It's better, okay. Oh, so finicky on the radii. We'll put 4 times here. Well, that's a bummer. Okay. We'll flip it and just bump this up a little bit. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, it's just goofy edge. Okay. It's a pain how when it's not aligned sometimes it wants to be difficult on you. Okay. Get that 2 in here before 7.75 before I forget about it. Sorry, I apologize. It is a little late. I'm not in my A game right now. You know what? We'll just put it in line with this one. Why not? Yep, so that's it. Alright, well, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching.